June 1972. I was in my bedroom listening to 1230 WTBC, local top 40 radio station, and I'll never forget these lines. I'll read you a few of these lines. It just hit me. In the morning, when you wake up, you got planes flying in the sky, flying bombs made to break up all the lies in your eyes. There's a man says he could put an end to war. They shot George Wallace down. He'll never walk around. Our minds are sleeping in the sea. Blow those bridges down and burn that jungle down and kill those Vietnamese. There's a man says he can put an end to war. Man, I just listen to this. The memories are just coming back. Bear with me. Just bear with me. Listen. In the morning, when you wake up, you got planes flying in the sky. I remember it so vividly. 43 years ago. It sticks with me. Billboard's Hot 100, July 22nd, 1972. Coming in at number 62 that week, moving up 2 from 64. The War Song by Neil Young and Graham Nash. It was a song to support George McGovern's run for the presidency. Of course, he got snowed under by Richard Nixon. Neil Young made his views quite clear about Richard Nixon a couple of years before when he did the song Ohio as a member of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. 10 soldiers and Nixon's coming. We're finally on our own. Classic rock and roll lines. The protest music lines. The Vietnam War was actually drawn down big time in 1972. Most of the American troops were withdrawn. Maybe some support troops over there. Actually, by 1970, 71, Nixon wasn't even sending draftees to Vietnam anymore. But don't quote me on that. Nonetheless, it's just a great record. I'm all over the place, and it's late. It's 2:30 in the morning. Now, here's another thing I want to mention about this record. They were back. Neil Young and Graham Nash. I want to mention a couple of things about Graham Nash in a minute. They were backed by a group called the Stray Gators. About 4 or 5 men were in this band. They supported Neil Young on his Harvest album and another album he came out with right after that. This was a 2-year period for 71 through 72. One of the members of the Stray Gators, brilliant producer. His name, Jack Nietzsche. Jack Nietzsche was one of Phil Spector's sidemen. One of his sidemen. Gold Star Recording Studios, I believe, was the name of the place in Los Angeles back in the early 60s. The epicenter of Phil Spector's Wall of Sound. But Jack Nietzsche, I got to tell you this. Jack Nietzsche, well, you remember the song. Late 65, winter of 66, going into the spring of 66. It's a lovely record. Lucid Butterfly by Bob Lynn. With the spacey lyrics. Wistful lyrics. One of the people who made that record, Jack Nietzsche. Jack Nietzsche produced that record. The sweeping of the strings, Jack Nietzsche. He added the strings to that record. I'm trying to think of something else profound to say about that record, but now it eludes me. That big sentence, that punchline eludes me now. But he lavishly threw strings. He lavished the strings on that record. Jack Nietzsche did. It was a brilliantly produced record. Jack Nietzsche. And I presume he played on this song by Neil Young and Graham Nash. It's not surprising that Graham Nash teamed up with Neil Young on this record. Graham Nash was probably the most politically minded of the group, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. That's ironic because he was in the Hollies. He sang on Carrie Ann. Bus Stop. Look through any window. Yeah, what do you see? One of my favorite songs by the Hollies, but I don't want to get too carried away on that. But Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, well, he had a solo hit a year before. It was called Chicago. It was his clarion call. Part of the meaning of the song was his clarion call to the rest of the members of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young saying, let's get more political. Let's get on with it. Let's change the world. We can change the world. And Crosby, Stills, Nash, they had a hit in the summer of '72. It was Immigration Man. And Neil Young had a hit in the summer of '72. Oh man, you see how all this comes together? It's an epiphany. It's what it is. That's all I got to say about the record. Dadgummit, that's it? I guess it is. All right, it went to number 61. That's it. It peaked. Remember hearing it on 1230 WTBC. It might have been Jeff Lindsay, the DJ, who played it, but I only heard it a couple of times. Didn't know the name of the song. I called the DJ years later, said, man, what's this song that says, in the morning when you wake up, planes are dropping bombs, and they mention something about George Wallace getting shot, and, oh, that's the war song. Who's it by? Neil Young and somebody else. So there it is. War song. Neil Young and Graham Nash, Billboard's Hot 100 of July 22nd, 1972. Thanks for bearing with me, by the way, on this video.